Okay, so hi, my name is Filipo. This is Peter on the right side. And we're missing Emma, but she's working on Black Friday in retail. So we're going to present today our paper, WikipediaBot, which is a machine learning assisted adversarial manipulation of Wikipedia articles that we developed and worked on for the last year or so, and comes as part of the larger work that our research team does within DePaul University and the Divergent Design Lab. So without further ado, I'll let Peter introduce you to the nuts and bolts of the Wikipedia bot, and then I'll take over towards the end to talk about the evaluation of it. So Peter, stage is yours.
Okay. So WikipediaBot is an example of malware-induced misperception that is intended to sort of alter target's reality, to sort of make it so that when they research information about a topic, that information aligns with the adversary's worldview, to sort of make it so that the target is doing and experiencing the world that the adversary wants. So we built this tool called WikipediaBot that makes edits to Wikipedia articles using an automated mechanism that basically censors out topics that the adversary does not want the target to read about. So WikipediaBot relies heavily on a website testing tool called Selenium that can mimic the way a human interacts with a web page. At a high level, the Selenium-based script is able to log in, make edits to Wikipedia articles, then log back out to log back in with another account. We are able to create logins using randomly generated aliases based on lists of common first and last names scraped directly from Wikipedia. These logins are passed to the MIM engine, or malware-induced misperception engine, which is able to scan a page and look for words it would like to replace in the Wikipedia article, then edit and make those replacements. The replacements are based on a Markov chain trained on related Wikipedia articles. So while they may not be grammatically correct, the word replacements make contextual sense. We are also able to leverage Python APIs that can correct common typos, or we can leverage our Markov chain to make malicious edits using the context-relevant word swaps. Using the typo corrector and sort of other word replacement strategies, we're able to sort of build up a bit of a reputation within Wikipedia and to make sure that we're not just making malicious edits that are easy to detect. The script can also be modified to easily mimic how a human would actually make these replacements. For example, only logging in during business hours, and sort of taking pauses between making changes, and sort of interacting with it more how an actual human would, rather than a bot that would be easy to detect. So one of the ways that we analyzed the word replacements was using a tool called Glitter, which was developed by MIT to detect machine-generated text. And how it works is it takes a look at a piece of text and highlights different words in different colors based on how likely a machine is to make that replacement. So words in green are more likely for a machine to have generated that. So if this text sample were all in green, there's a very good chance that it would have been machine generated. And in this example, the word Uyghur was replaced with the word Han, which is a different ethnic group in China. And what's kind of cool about this is that the word Han, it like fits so closely to the meaning of Uyghur that without some knowledge of Chinese history, you wouldn't necessarily know how sort of disparate that, or how big that distinction is. And even like using glitter to analyze this text sample, if you click around the word Han to see like what words should sort of go with the word Han, they all sort of make sense given the context of that article. So, and that's sort of the existential threat of this attack.
Okay. So one thing for us to mention that we didn't test this actually on Wikipedia. So we actually informed them before we started developing these things. And what we did, we make these changes in an offline version of downloaded articles that we manipulated with the WikipediaBot. So none of this actually has been taken as a vandalism because we really don't want to get into trouble. And this is done from the perspective of understanding what Wikipedia vandalism could evolve in future with automated means, not just necessarily going into a very highly popular articles and then changing things just out of spite or just to provoke emotional response. So for us to see whether these changes actually work, we use that offline setup that we have, and we invited with a small study, qualitative evaluation study, 10 participants who we split them randomly in 2 groups, and 5 of them picked an article, and they picked target adversarial words that they wanted to change. So, and surrounding articles, they want to train the WikipediaBot on how to make those contextual changes. And the other 5 served as users who had to read and evaluate the article based on credibility and based on what the impression they got after reading it. The evaluating users didn't have any idea what they knew about WikipediaBot, but they had no idea what the articles will be assigned to them, or nor what the target words will be. So we had we left our participants who had the opportunity to choose the article, to choose a random article from themselves. And they picked these 5 that you see, the 5 topics. The first one was on the COVID-19 pandemic, something that might not be that easy to be executed in real life, but nonetheless, it was a test to see whether it's going to work. And the evaluator notified the evaluator after reading it, felt that everything was consistent and credible, but it was the parts that were focused on the deaths and fatalities and infections and number of transmissions and the effect of social distancing was ambiguous, and their effect on the fatalities. On the second article, someone picked Greta school strike for climate, and the goal that was identified by the evaluator was that it looked like it's more of a school project rather than something that spanned across the world to emphasize the problem of climate change. The next 3 articles, interestingly, revolve around military and war. So the third article was the Soviet-Japanese War. And it was, the idea was to, the evaluator notified that the Red Army was presented as someone who liberated and downplayed their role in killing many Japanese soldiers and citizens into the war. The 4th article was the Iraqi war article, where US was made to look like an overt aggressor, which played on a very controversial issue in outside of Wikipedia, of course, on internet, but the idea was to make US the aggressor that actually justified going into war with Iraq and using the weapons of mass destruction for that. And the 5th article was on the US Cyber Command that tried to emphasize that US Cyber Command is rather trigger happy and relies maximum on as much as possible on cyber operations. So after we evaluated this with the evaluators, then we matched the intention. We talked to with the manipulators who use the Wikipedia bot in an offline context, and they confirmed that their intention was to do all of these things that we discussed with separately with both groups about improvements and about stuff that they think they could have noticed that the change might have been made by a bot or someone intentionally made a mistake. And in a few instances, they notified that they can see grammatical inconsistencies, which is something that we are openly working right now. And we acknowledge that the bot is it's not perfect, far from perfect, but the whole idea why we developed this to induce malware misperception is to make small changes. So the Wikipedia bot is different than Wikipedia vandalism because we don't introduce an overt misinformation like changing birthplace or changing something like that, but we can also play, for example, numbers of casualties, or we can change words that have similar but not the main meaning, so people can induce perception that it's not necessarily the one that the article and the majority of people will infer out of it. So and we opted out to do this on Wikipedia because people go to Wikipedia to read about stuff and to get first-hand information that is preliminary credible before they started digging into things, right? So any changes that can go unnoticed, anything that can be done to induce a misperception through Wikipedia could be, assuming it passes all the detection and evasion, could be assumed as a truth when in fact is not. And that's a little bit of a scary proposition. We tested a similar tool and approach to evade detection on Twitter and on Facebook in a little bit of different context. But Twitter and Facebook is not a place where people go, like they do go for news, but they also know that trolling and misinformation and any kind of pollution actively happens on those platforms. The percent, rather than on Wikipedia, where it's more so something that is a credible source compared to this social media platforms. So we're far from having a perfect thing, but what we are trying to present, the novelty of our idea is that a coordinated use of multiple Wikipedia bots can actually attack, even for a brief amount of time, and create a perception that certain things play according to a nation state or against a nation state. For example, someone doesn't have, of course, if we consider all the protections that Wikipedia has about reputation, a reputation of editors, the Wikipedia bot can be customized to do those things. It cannot be used right away. It can be customized for the users that are controlled under the bot to create a reputation and to use different IP addresses and to mimic, as Peter said, human behavior. And for example, not target highly guarded pages, like for example, the COVID-19 pandemic, but they can target pages that talk about xenophobia and xenophobia against China because of COVID, and then introduce misperceptions that actually that's justified by other governments, which is it's not a true thing, but is not an article with a high reputation. Or for example, a Wikipedia bot can be used if someone wants to induce misperception about handling of COVID. You can use the Wikipedia bot attacking the number of available beds in countries. That's also a Wikipedia article. So you can change the numbers there for a little bit, or change the order, or change the context, or add sentences in terms of how many ICU beds are available or how many regular beds are available, to create a perception that some countries are not ready, or some countries might have overflown healthcare capacities, and with that to affect the general perception about the handling of coronavirus for a particular country. So I think that summarizes what we had in a nutshell. We are happy to hear your feedback. We are happy to hear your questions, comments, and concerns. We would like to thank the reviewers for very constructive feedback that we've got, and we have considered each one of the comments and included into the paper. And yeah, that's going to be all. Feel free to talk to us. Feel free to contact us. Feel free to add feedback. And yeah, that's all I have, Peter.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thanks. And, bye-bye.